It's always a good idea to embrace a harmonious feel in your home by bringing order into the design. For qualified architect turned product designer Jennifer Bradley, the simplicity of her designs allows people to appreciate the finer details in her mirrors and textiles.
I've always made things. I've always kind of made my own bedside table when I was in high school and done things like that. And I was looking for a round mirror and decided that I'd experiment a bit, and a friend of mine had a laser cutter, so I made a round mirror. And from that, it evolved into making one for a friend, and then a friend of mine had a stand at a Karma's market, Karma's Volkerskenker, and they said, well, why don't you do a couple? Because we've got some space, and see what happens. And from there I resigned from architecture and started going freelance and got stuck into making mirrors, and the process has evolved. It's just something that's kind of, one thing has led to another. When people ask me what I do for a living, I very often say I colour in for a living, because I do a lot of drawing, a lot of scribbling, and then I get to take those sketches and doodles and designs and develop them into something that's tangible and real. Going back to the fact that I studied architecture, one of the things we were taught is that limiting yourself to one particular style means you are defining the outcome before you've gone through the process. To say, I only work in this style means you're excluding all the possibilities. I like things clean. I like to be able to see the details. I like to keep the design considered and refined so that the finer points that I spent a lot of time working on aren't obscured by extra bits and pieces. What I'm showing you today is a selection of my textile products. I've got some scatter cushions, table runners and pencil cases. Particularly the scatter cushions, I print those on a one-off basis, so they're all, while the patterns and the designs are the same that I use in other products, the process of printing is a once-off, so I'll arrange things differently and the design will be slightly different, and exactly where it's positioned is slightly different. I've got a couple of mirrors, some of the first ones I designed, which are the round mirrors. They've got a two-tone frame, so there's a very narrow, clean outside frame, and then an even narrower inlay in a second colour. There's a black frame with a white inlay and a white frame with a wood inlay. Those are the very first ones that I did, and then I've evolved into doing them just with a single frame. So I've finally also gotten to doing a rectangular mirror, which is quite simple. And then the last one, which is my latest product, is the Frank mirror, which is, it's on a double frame. So it's a steel framed mirror, a sort of oval type shape. It's got rounded ends, and the frame is about 120 millimeters wide, and it hangs away from the wall. So you've got space behind it for shelves, or there's a bigger version which you can then hang things behind or also put shelves behind, and they can both be hung either horizontally or vertically. So I'm starting to get more into the flexibility and functionality of the design, and it's adding more layers to it and more uses to things. People really value local design. It's not like it's seen as inferior anymore. We're learning to appreciate what we have here and the talents and abilities that we have here a lot more. And at the same time, the South African design industry is still quite small, so people care about each other, and there's always a lot of camaraderie is probably a good way to describe it, and it's great. It makes you feel like you can do it.
Creating harmony in your interior doesn't mean limiting your creativity. You can start by making room for a few new accessories that serve a purpose whilst adding a fresh expression of your personality.